Raising red flags. The first hearing of President Biden's impeachment inquiry is in the books as the forensic accountant voices his concern on Capitol Hill over Hunter's business dealings. For example,
in your professional experience, looking at this organizational chart of business structure, what do you see here?
I see a very complicated structure of entities that are interrelated and would give me concern. If I were an investigator, I would want to know what's going on in these entities.
When you see a situation where ownership interest moves from one spouse to the other, is that a concern?
I would call it a red flag. That's something I would look at.
And that was the point, to lay out the case, the curiosity, and why there needs to be an investigation. Many people missed that point. Bruce Dubinsky joins us now. Bruce, what was the biggest takeaway for you yesterday as you sat there hour after hour, first, for you personally?
I think for me personally, not being an insider in Washington, even having grown up there, just watching the process was incredible. The infighting across the aisle was incredible. And there was a lot of deflection regarding the basic facts of the case.
No one really challenged and said, what's the big deal? No one said, hey, you're a forensic accountant, but I'm better, and this is where you're wrong. They just said, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. But I thought the point was to bring an expert like you to explain the pathway of this money, where it is now, where it came from, and what the intention was with the deposits.
Well, like the famous movie Jerry Maguire, Show Me the Money, that's what it's all about. And there was a lot of deflection. No one asked me direct questions about the bank statements that I reviewed, the trail of money, or getting to the bottom and the truth of what this money was being paid for. Was there a connection in any way to then Vice President Biden or now President Biden? Those are the questions the American people need to know and deserve to know.
So that's true. And people say, well, there's no deposit slip that said to Joe Biden from Hunter, so therefore he's innocent. Is that how you see it?
No, I've investigated hundreds of frauds cases. You're not going to see a direct payment to President Biden or then Vice President Biden. It would be some sort of indirect benefit. And you heard Professor Turley say that if it was proven, and it hasn't been proven yet, but if it was proven that there's an indirect benefit from that President, then Vice President Biden or President Biden derived from the money Hunter Biden received, that could rise to the level of an impeachable offense.
Something you brought up to me in the break, you looked up and found out what the average board member gets paid compared to what Hunter Biden gets paid without any known expertise. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, I was just curious. Hunter Biden was receiving $1 million a year to be on the board of Burisma with no expertise, no known expertise for an oil company. I just went and looked at the same year, 2015, for ExxonMobil. Their average compensation for their directors, their independent directors, was about $350,000 a year. So you have to ask yourself, almost 2.5 times the rate, what is Burisma paying Hunter Biden for, and why? And what's being given in exchange for that? Was it just the illusion of access to Washington, as that's the story now? Or was there something more? Again, the American people deserve the truth, and we need to find that out.
And we knew a lot of the stuff going in. The case was outlined. This is the reason for the investigation. My final thought. If I just gave you this case and you didn't even know the names, and I said, I laid this out in front of you as a forensic accountant, is there a reason for an investigation?
Absolutely. When you see this kind of money being moved around in short periods of time, money coming in, large sums of money, millions of dollars coming into an account and being rapidly moved from that account to other accounts and then distributed to the son of the then Vice President Biden and now President Biden, absolutely. And if you take the names away, I don't care who it is, whether it's somebody on the other side of the aisle, I would do that investigation. Look, I think people are tired. Professor Turley talked about in Washington the sale of access is kind of the business of the day. We need to stop that. We need to get to the bottom of whether it's on the Democrat side or the Republican side. This needs to stop.
Exactly. And if something else that comes out of this, great. And that's what you're saying as an American who happens to have an expertise in this area. Bruce.